Hi, welcome back to Anne's House of Six on this cold, wintry day in May. It's hard to believe it's May. It's almost the end of May and it's freezing outside. And the rain has been pouring for 2 days now. It's supposed to go right through to the weekend. I've had enough. I'm gonna move somewhere warm. I wanted to continue the series today that I've been doing of things that my husband and I actually did to save money. The whole channel is about small ways to save money that build up over time. But I wanted to specifically point out a few things that we did that put us to where we are today. One of those things was we lived with my in-laws when we first got married. And I know a lot of people have opinions on that, including my own kids, but it really pushed us forward to be able to save quite a bit of money so that we were able to afford a down payment on our first home. I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity to. It doesn't always present itself for people, but if you do, it's really something to think about. If you're able to live with your parents for a time, and I'm talking about as a couple, and you're just starting out, live with your parents for a bit of time, or your in-laws, siblings, even friends, if you can share a place. It really helps to build up your bank account. So we moved in. I mean, obviously my husband was already living there. I moved in after we got married, and I will be totally honest, it was not easy. It was quite an adjustment. My in-laws spoke Portuguese. My mother-in-law could only speak Portuguese. She knew no English. And my father-in-law could speak English, but it was very difficult to understand him. You had to really pay attention to what he was saying. So we lived with them for about 4.5 years. We had 3 of our 4 children when we moved out. And I know it must have been hard on them to, have someone move in who's really, who's not their family. And then we started having kids and the household gets pretty noisy. But it allowed us, as I said, to have a good down payment on a house of our own. So that's one thing. If you can manage to do it and you have a set time in mind, so let's say you decide to move in together and you have a 5-year plan, I really believe that can help put you forward to be able to buy your own place. And it seems like, from my experience, once you're able to get into the real estate market, I don't think you ever leave. Usually you don't ever leave. So you're always able to, even if you sell that house, you're able to continue and buy another house. You won't be renting once you can get into the real estate market, usually. So it was not easy. I didn't speak Portuguese. I still don't. I should have learned a long time ago, but I didn't. My choice. So it was hard to communicate with my mother-in-law. And she was a person who would do anything for you. She would give you the shirt off her back, even if she didn't have another one. She would do everything for you. And that's where some of the problems came in. Because as a newly married couple, you want to do your own thing. You kind of want to run your bit of the household your way. And then especially when you have kids, you want to look after them in your way. And there is always kind of that headbutting going on. Looking back on it now, I'm now 60 years old. So looking back on it, I wish I could have been more patient because I think it benefited our kids quite a bit. Um, I was still working. By the time I had my second child, I went to part-time work, and she was looking after the two boys, so I could continue to work, which was a great advantage. Um, and I know my oldest son, when I would come home from work, I could hear him talking to his grandmother in Portuguese. And when he saw me, he would turn right around and speak in English, which was amazing. He had no sense that he was speaking a different language. No trouble transferring from one language to the other. It was just something he didn't even think about. So I think all my kids would have, if we'd stayed, all my kids would have had a chance to learn. And my husband speaks Portuguese, so it could have been a case where they kept that language if they continued to speak it. So that's just one. I think one of the major things we did was living with my in-laws. Major in the sense that it allowed us to put a lot of money away. And so I'm so grateful to them that we were able to do that. And as I said, looking back on it, I kind of wish that I had the patience to stay there longer and let the kids learn more. And the other thing too, which I wouldn't admit at the time, but it was company. Sometimes my husband had to work nights or evenings, and I had other adults in the house, and they were helping me with the kids too. They would help with the kids. And just that company too, that you're not alone looking after your children. So another thing I want to touch on that we did too was to learn to do our own car repairs. My husband has done our car repairs, and I'm talking about minor repairs, for a while now. So he's gone on YouTube and he's looked up, if he doesn't know how to do something, he's looked up how to do it and watched many videos before he'll attempt to do it. So of course, oil changes is a good way to start. Learning about your car and learning how to do some repairs. He's taught me how to change the battery on the car. He's done brake changes, tire changes. All of these can be learned. They do take time, obviously, you need to have time to be able to do them. But if you can do them, that's going to save you a lot of money. The last time I looked up tire change, so like from winter to summer tires, summer to winter tires, it was about $150 charge each time. It's probably a lot more than that now, because that was a while ago. So if you can learn to do those small maintenance and repairs, it's going to save you a little bit of money. I know my brother mentioned when I started this channel, that's one thing he does to save money. And I'm seeing a lot more guys out on their driveway around our neighborhood who are doing their own repairs, especially tire changes. They're really taking care of that themselves. So that was another thing we did. Another thing we did to save money is we didn't go out to a lot of places that you had to pay to get in. So we would take the kids to different parks. We'd go to farms, especially in the fall when you can pick pumpkins. And there's a lot of places you can look up too that are free to use for families or a very minimal charge. So we would go to a lot of different parks. Sometimes we would take them to McDonald's. They could play for a while my husband and I had a coffee. There's a lot of places you can look up that you can take your kids to for, as I say, free or a minimal charge. So you don't always have to go to these amusement parks, or even movies is very expensive for a family to go to. We used to rent a lot of movies from the library, and the kids would watch those, and they enjoyed it. We'd make a little party out of it. So that's another thing to do. The other thing I want to mention, just to kind of wrap this series up, is your house repairs. Try, as well as the car repairs, try to do your own house repairs. Paint the walls yourself, clean the house yourself. Again, all of this takes time, I know, especially if you're working full time, it's difficult. But to hire people for each of these things is going to drain your bank account. My niece's husband, they just bought their own home, and he redid the living room and dining room floors. He laid down flooring, and it looks fantastic. Again, he went to YouTube. He watched YouTube videos. He watched several of them to see how to do it, what to do when you run into maybe an unlevel floor. And he did a fantastic job. And that was his first time ever laying a floor. So there's a lot of help you can get. You can talk to other people how to do things. You can go on YouTube. You can look up different books how to do things. But try as much as you possibly can to do your own repairs in your house and in your car. And that's about it for this series. I'm going to continue with specific topics each week about saving money, ways to do it in small ways. But I wanted to end with our quiz. Another quiz question. And no one participated in the last one. So I hope you'll come to the channel and like and subscribe. And leave a comment. Leave you a comment either about the video or our quiz question. And the question this week is, a sinking fund, sinking, S-I-N-K-I-N-G, a sinking fund is A, money saved for emergencies, B, a fund that's losing value, C, a savings pot for predictable expenses like holidays or car repairs, which we talked about today, or D, another name for a checking account. I had no idea what a sinking fund was. I had to go look it up. So take a look. If you don't know, look it up and answer the question. And we'll see you next week. Stay warm.